I'm headed back to Zany's in Nashville, Friday, March 28th and Saturday, March 29th, Madison, Wisconsin. I'm excited to announce I'm shooting my next special at your club, Comedy on State. I was there not too long ago, had such a great time, such a great club that I'm excited to work with them and bring you my next special. 2 shows, Saturday, April 12th. Get your tickets now at ryansickler.com.
The HoneyDew with Ryan Sickler.
Welcome back to the HoneyDew, y'all. We're over here doing it in the Night Pants Studios. I'm Ryan Sickler, and I want to say thank you for watching this show. Thank you for supporting anything I do. I don't care what it is. I don't care if you're just telling somebody about the show. Thank you for your support. Come see me do live comedy if I'm in your city when you're around. Tickets are on my website at ryansickler.com. And if you love this show and you got to have more, then you got to have the Patreon. It's called The HoneyDew with Y'all. It is this show with y'all. And I'm telling you, I've been telling you for years, nobody's got these stories. It is ridiculously the wildest podcast on Patreon, and it's your show. And it has remained and will remain $5 a month. All right. If you want bonus content, we now have that new tier with the Wayback, a day early, ad-free. Everything for both shows is censor-free, and you're getting bonus content up there you're not getting anywhere else. That's the biz. You guys know what we do here. We highlight the lowlights. I always say that these are the stories behind the storytellers. And I am very excited to have this guest on today. First time here on the HoneyDew. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mick Betancourt.
Come on now.
Welcome to the HoneyDew. Mick
HoneyDew, y'all.
That's one extra 5 for each star on the Chicago flag. Is it 5 stars?
4.
4?
Yeah.
All right.
I got that tattooed right there.
I love it. I know.
People go, what is that? I go, tattoo of a bruise.
Brother, it is very good to see you.
You
and
too,
finally
man.
have
I know,
you here.
man. Crazy. 5 years in the making, right?
Easy.
Yeah.
Easy. But before we get into what we're going to talk about today, right there, plug it all, please.
Cool. All right. So at Mick Betancourt on all social media. I brought my notebook here so I wouldn't forget. Reacher on Amazon. Show it some love. That's on right now. And
I
then,
had no idea you were working on that. How long have you been working on the show?
So I came on season 3, which drops, I think, depending on when this drops, February 20th, but it's on right now. Watch it. Show it some love. It's a great show. Do the cast and crew of that. Want to show some love to the Toronto crew up there. That's
Is that where they shoot?
Yeah, they shoot it in Toronto, but the crew, man, is just top-notch humans and just a great family vibe. And Alan leading the show, the star of the show, Maria Sten, just like, dude, it's like one of those things that you get involved with and you're like, oh, this is the dream. Like it's a dream to work in Hollywood for sure. But when the people are on point and they're kind and supportive and caring, man, you're just like, oh, this is amazing. So if you don't know about the show, it's on Amazon. Give it a try.
And it's already on season 3?
Yeah, season 3 is dropping. It's on right now. Yeah, so check that out. And then St. Baldrick's Foundation, I want to show some love to the Franklin Park, Illinois fire department that's doing a fundraiser to fight pediatric cancer. So
that's nice.
Yeah, man. So that's March 14th at Joe's Live in Rosemont, Illinois. Doors open at 5:30. It's free kids activities, open donations, silent auctions, and Irish dancers. I don't know if you're familiar with Irish people. Second on the left on the evolutionary chart. It's going to be fucking amazing. Someone's going to get punched in the face while helping raise money for pediatric cancer. So,
I love that. And your Substack.
My Substack, dude, I almost forgot. So, speaking of stories and wild stories, mickbetancourt.substack.com, over 85 stories up right now, free for 7 days if you sign up as my HoneyDew promotion. So just go, there's over 85 stories, vibe with it, read all of them, 7 days. And it's $5 a month if you want to hang out and get access to the premium content after that, or $30 for the year. But right now it's free for 7 days.
All right.
Yeah, man.
Well, like I said, it's good to see you. And you had such an epic, I want to say, couple episodes of the Crab Feasts. But let's talk about your life story, because you're one of the few. You have a very Joey Diaz, myself sort of upbringing.
Sure.
Wild and parentless.
Yeah.
So let's dive into it. You're originally from Chicago.
Chicago, yeah. I'm Irish and Puerto Rican, and I look like
and who's what though?
Fucking map of dairy on my face. So just You have to drive over a Puerto Rican flag. Like it's a huge sculpture to get in and out of the neighborhood that I grew up in before my dad died.
In Chicago?
Yeah, it's called Humboldt Park.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And who was Puerto Rican, dad or mom?
Ryan, look at this.
You look white, bro.
Dude,
you look
white as a nun's ass,
So
bro.
your dad wasn't Puerto Rican either?
No, dad was.
He was.
My grandfather's from Puerto Rico.
Okay.
And he's so Puerto Rican that when my dad passed away, which we'll talk about, it says when he had to go fill out the death certificate under country of origin, it said Puerto Rico as a standalone country not to have been given to the United States from Spain. He's just like, this is an independent country, you know? So they were teenagers when I was born. My father was 16, my mom was 17.
Is that right? See, I know this. I know I've heard this stuff so long ago, but we do all these episodes. I don't remember. Is that right? Your parents were kids,
dude. Now that we have kids, and you look back, you're just
16
like,
and
17. My daughter's 17.
Oh,
I would have already been one.
Hell no.
I go into her room and I was like, what?
Yeah,
this is your like.
Can you imagine also looking at your daughter and be like, you'd have been my mom? Like, hell no. What's going on?
Yeah, man. But to look at that and imagine my daughter with a 1-year-old is like blows my mind. But you don't have any of that perspective when you're coming up. I mean, it was a quarter pump off from my dad. You know what I mean? Just like there it was. He dropped out of high school, got a job at factories, mechanic, whatever he could get. Like he just was like, I'm out. And he got custody of me. So what,
Why?
what is that? You'll find out in a second
okay.
about my mom. But like, no dad was getting custody of the kid back then. So I was born in 1974. They tried to make it work for a couple years. Mm-hmm. My grandmother, my mom's mom, Irish Catholic, and they were teenagers. My parents was like, he's not getting baptized. And so my grandma was like, what? And then they were like, we're going to try to save the marriage. We're going to go spend a weekend together. Will you watch? I was little Mickey. My dad was big Mickey. I was little Mickey. She's like, oh yeah, I'll watch him. Snuck me down the street.
I knew you were going to say it. Did she? She had you baptized?
Yeah. Just snuck me down the street. Dunked me in the water.
Grandma was like, hurry up. Just bless it. Throw some on this kid. I got to get home.
Just hit him. Shing, no help for you.
Is that right?
Yeah, man.
Did she ever confess to them?
Oh yeah. They were furious.
Oh yeah.
But so my dad got custody of me. I didn't really have any memories of my mom. So my dad
is
an
only child between them?
Only child. Mm-hmm. So I'm living with my dad who lives with his mother and his 2 sisters.
And how old are you at this time?
2.
Yeah, I imagine he's 18.
Yeah.
Of course he's living at home with his mom.
We're sharing, and dude, his mom went yard on the booze. Like she would just come out,
This is grandma.
7 a.m. Sit there, drink all day.
And how old is she? Do you remember? Is she a young lady too? Like, is this a young grandma, like 40s?
I think everybody was young, man.
Yeah,
it was just straight poverty shit. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like just no roadmap, no nothing. And so
you're sharing a room with your dad?
No, my dad slept on a love seat, not even a full sofa. And I slept on the throw rug under him in the living room. In the living room.
That was your bedroom.
That was my bedroom. And what I used to sleep in a drawer.
Really?
Like a pull-out drawer. Because my mom's brother came to a party. Just imagine, this is high school shit. He came to one of my dad's parties, heard a baby crying, knew that he had custody of me, went into a room, and I was in a drawer. So now when I was too big to sleep in the drawer, I'm on the floor. And I told this on the original Crab Feast. I'm sleeping. My dad's above me. Hear somebody come in. I look up. I don't really see anybody. I hear someone kind of walk past. And then I hear a sound of like someone throwing a basketball up and hitting it with an aluminum bat. And
it's very descriptive.
Yeah, just really like, I was like, that weird thunk sound. Yeah. And I was like, I looked and I saw a little light under the bathroom, So my dad gets up and he opens the door, and his sister, who was a heroin addict, had got naked, tied off on the toilet, and fell into the tub. And it was her head hitting the porcelain. You know what I mean? And her legs are sticking up, and I'm like, "What's that?" Like you're just
going to kindergarten tomorrow.
Dude,
Not even. You're going
really.
to be.
Yeah. No, I was around kindergarten time, so I'm like, "What?" And then my grandmother grabs me and yanks me out as he starts pouring cold water on her, slapping her. And my grandmother grabs me and she goes, "The devil's in the house right now." And I was like, "What?"
Fucking 5 years old.
what are you talking about? She's like, the devil's in the house right now. I'm like, we gotta go.
What are we doing here?
Why don't you got that? So I'm like, what's and she's like, and tomorrow we're all gonna wake up with black eyes. And I'm like, black guys? Because I was like, what are you talking? Because the family upstairs, we shared an illegally converted A-frame house with a black family.
Okay.
So because I look like this, my grandfather said he never speaks Puerto Rican because it was a racist town and you don't want to give him an accent. So I just hung out with the 3 black kids. I thought I was Steve Martin in The Jerk. Like I was just like, I thought I was black till I was 7. So I'm like, what do we got to do? She's like, black eyes. So she's like, the devil's here, the devil's here, the devil's here. And she goes, now go back to sleep. And I was like,
when?
This is my aunt's upside down on heroin in the bathtub. And you said it, but just a friendly reminder, the devil's here. And you're like, go back to sleep.
Go rest.
Go back to sleep. So I was like, on the floor, hearing those 2 yelling at, because, she's a junkie that lost her high. He got her to come back. So she's furious at him, my father. So I'm like, he's like, gets back to sleep. I'm like, you okay? And he's just lays back down. Just at that time, he was probably 21. Let's say I'm 5. Just got his sister who overdosed. Just this guy's
Mayhem.
carrying the fucking world on his back.
21 years old.
So I wake up the next day and I'm in the bathroom making my little 5-year-old tinkle. And I'm like, what did grandma say? So I like lean in to the mirror to see on my kids. Purple fucking black eye, yellow. I'm like, whoa.
Fucking devil,
running.
Bro. Said, oh my
Yank the coat covers off my dad. Black eye.
No.
On my kids. Go into my grandmother's room. Covers down. Black eye. To this day, I still don't know how that happened.
You don't think she went and did that while everybody was
I think
asleep?
the devil came in throwing heaters, man. Just straight right.
Driving out,
Yeah.
Wouldn't you if you were a ghost? I would. I'm like, this
Dude.
motherfucker right here.
Why would you say that? How would you know? Then we all woke up with black eyes. I mean, look, I would go to school and every day, kindergarten. So my dad had would drive me on a chopper. He got like a discount chopper. So I'd hug the tank going to kindergarten.
Oh, you're up front?
I'm hugging that tank for dear life, man, on Chicago potholes. Then he got a work van driving people with spinal injuries around. And so they're like, don't use this van for personal reasons. That's all he got it for because the bike broke down. He had a Trans Am for a while that you'd start with a screwdriver.
Yeah, Trans Am. Yeah, of course. He's 21.
The T-tops had like tarps duct taped to the car. You know what I mean? This was not fancy shit, man. You know what I mean? This is real good shit. So he finally gets this van. He gets a job.
Fucking Trans Am with T-tarps.
Oh, you see them new T-tarps he's got over on Trumbull?
It's nice out today, son. Take that bungee cord off over there, man. Let's get these T-tarps off.
Got to take the T-tarps off real slow so you don't take the paint off.
T-tarps. This fucking car. He's got a kid in it. Started with a screwdriver. T-tarps, bro. We're on to something here.
My lady.
Little canvas tops, little Jeep tops, little bikini tops.
A blind date out. You're like, oh, you want to?
Oh, goddamn.
You want some wind in your hair? Hold on.
Hang on a second. Let me roll that back.
You would have a screwdriver on here. I lost my keys.
Oh, goddamn, dude. Okay, so we had Trans Am, and so wait, when you say you had a work van, like it was a van, you got a job at a company they provided
the van. You could have, and it had the lifts and shit on the side.
Oh, it's like had the handicap.
Yeah. But every day he'd go pick me up at school.
In that?
He started picking me up in that. He'd go, hey, I'd have to come out. I'd be scared to death. And I go, hey, Dad, the teacher wants to talk to you. And he's like, oh, fuck, are you fucking around again? I said, yeah, I'm in there and I get these surges
I got 3 spinals in the back right now, son.
You're fucking with my T-tarp money. And I'd be like, she wants to talk to you. Because I would just be in, because I just had disciplinary shit. The house was crazy. So like, I just need to release the pressure somehow. So they'd be like, we're going to do colors. And I literally just run out the room or I just grab a chair and just see if it go through the window. I mean, just crazy shit. So I'm like, the lady wants to talk to you again. So he's like, all right. And every time I come back in, I get a crack on the ass. He'd yell at me something. So one time I'm sitting there, Ryan, and he goes in and I look over and the van's on. And I'm like, I think I got to get out of here, man. Like, this is, you know what I mean? Like, I can't get another crack on the ass. So I jump in and you watch your parents drive. I'm like, all right, this works this. Those 2 pedals, I got a 50-50 chance. So I just get under in the wheel well and I push one and I hit one. It's like, so I'm like, all right. And I just yanked
in the school parking lot?
No, he parked in front of the school. So he's like on the street and he went in.
Okay, I see.
Van's just sitting there. Bro, I'm under the well. Like a pinball down the street.
You're hitting.
I'm mowing fucking cars down.
You're hitting cars for real?
Ka-kung, ka-kung, come. I can't see shit because I'm like driving it and then it just stops. And I'm like, I think I'm in more trouble now.
Yeah, you
like
might
I thought,
be, dude.
So this lady runs up and she's like, where's the driver? Where's the driver? And I'm like, I don't know. Just
my dad's talking to the principal. It's going to make him look bad. It would. Any dad whose child gets into a car and drives, they're coming to look for my ass.
So he, sirens, people, it's a thing. And I just see him running up and like looking at me, like seeing everything. And he's like, did you fucking, was this you? And I was like, nope.
Did you really?
Yeah. I was just scared to tell him the truth, man. And he just was so dejected. Then the cops came up and they're like, it's because, what you don't know when you're a kid doing that, but you're looking at a guy is he's now doing the math.
That's my work van, the insurance. How many cars did he just fucking hit? We got to pay all those out. Yep.
No new T-tarps.
T-tarp, bro. You better hold on to those T-tarps.
That's it.
Yeah.
So he loses the job.
Nah. You cost your dad the job.
Dude, they lose the job. He gets fired.
No.
Wrecked the van. Dude, I totaled the van that they said do not use for personal reasons, which is a block from his kid's school. And so I remember like him just being angry. He was never like a dude. He was just put on, man. He just dropped out of school to raise a kid that he didn't plan on having and then was like, I'm in survival mode, And I remember just seeing him, like I checked, I'm sorry, like, yeah, I'm sorry. And he always rocked kind of like a biker vibe. Like he had long black hair, always had like turquoise and teal earrings.
Your dad?
My dad, yeah. Like a biker vibe in a neighborhood with no real bikers. His friends were bikers. Like he just loved motorcycles. So he's like, he just left one night when I was apologizing, like right around when it happened. And he just leaves and I'm following him. Like I got a t-shirt on like this.
How would you say you are at this point?
6.
Okay.
So he's walking. We go to the corner store. He gets a case of beer. He's not talking to me. I'm just, Daddy, I'm trying to crack jokes, whatever. Bus comes. He gets on the bus. I just get on with him. We go in the back of the bus. He's just drinking the beers, right? And he's just getting more. And like, I'm starting to watch like the people, because they see him with a kid. I'm little. And I'm looking at how people are looking at him the more drunk he's getting, because like we'll ride it to the end of the line. It's total silence. Get on another bus right at the end of the line, and he's starting to stagger more. Get to another one, he can't even walk. Bus driver comes in and he goes, you guys got to get off. I'm like, well, where are we going to go? And my dad's just out, just like barely. So the guy grabs him, the bus driver, from the back door and just like kind of tosses him. He stumbles. My dad, we're like in an industrial outpost in Chicago. Hits like this warehouse and just drops. And so I just go with him, and the look on the bus driver's face of just disgust, this bum wino and his kid. And like, it's cold, man. And I got a t-shirt. I just followed him out of the house when he went to the corner store. So he's just kind of passed out, barely coherent. And I'm like nuzzling into him to try to get the wind. And I'm looking around like maybe he's wanted to bring me here, because I don't know anything. And I'm like, maybe is there a cool thing he wanted to show me? And he finally comes to, and he just looks at me, man. And he goes, I'm sorry.
Did he?
And then he went missing the next day.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
Are you being for real?
Yeah.
For good?
But
So-
what happened was
Can I ask you a question real fast?
Yeah.
Because now I'm looking at it with hindsight. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Is that just for getting shit faced on this bus and what I
No,
did to you tonight,
no,
or is
no,
I'm
no.
sorry what I'm about to do?
No, because
Or
I don't think
you know
so.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think I'm sorry.
Was that goodbye?
No, I don't think it was a goodbye. I think it was how I felt when my son was born and I had no tools to be a father to him.
Mhm.
I had no tools. And man, I wanted them. I wanted those tools. And I just, it was like, I felt like I would never have them. Like the idea that I could take care of somebody and the rent's paid and the repo man's not coming and they're not coming to evict. I mean, I've lived in 29 different places in my life. No,
That's a
maybe
lot.
30 now. And I think the I'm sorry was like, and maybe I'm being, I'm looking back and I'm making it more flowery than it is. It could have just been, I'm sorry I took you out and it's cold, but I really feel like it was like a deeply felt, I don't have what it takes for you. And then he went out and so he was missing for 3 days. So I should say he went missing.
So the next day he goes missing.
He goes missing.
Who tells you?
Well, so he's dating a girl at the time who was addicted to heroin at the time and looked like remember the girl with the long blonde hair, the Muppet?
With the big red lips.
Yeah, she looked like that.
Yeah.
And so she's like, anybody seen Big Mickey? And they're like, oh man, he's out partying. Like, he lost his job. He's probably out partying. Like day 2, it was like, call the drunk tanks, call the hospitals, call around. He might got in an accident. He's probably laid up. He's just on a run. You know what I mean? He's out partying. Day 3, man, the vibe in the apartment was not good. So my grandfather's over his father and he's like, we gotta call the morgue, and then my grandmother's howling, like no one wanted to even entertain that idea, because I was like, what's a morgue? And so he goes in the other room and he's on the kitchen phone with the long ass cord. And he comes back in and he goes, there's a John Doe matching Big Mickey's description that's been at the morgue for 3 days. No wallet, no money. So they go down. He identifies the body of his son, which I can't, as a parent now, I can't even fathom. I don't know how, dude, I don't know. I'm still not equipped to process that. Like, you think about your own kids as like, dude, you got to kill everybody. Like, how do you, you know what I mean? Like, how do you process
I'm
that?
thinking about the drive there,
All
hoping
of
like
it,
a
dude.
motherfucker.
Yeah.
It's not
of course it's not him.
fucking thing
Everything.
that goes into this.
Yeah, man. And they go.
And how old was your dad at the time? 20 what?
23.
Oh, he's a baby.
Because I was 4. Yeah, 23. Just turned 23.
And his father's down there identifying his son's dead body.
Yeah, man.
Do you know what happened?
Penniless. He was electrocuted on the 3rd rail in Chicago.
On the train tracks?
On the train tracks. Yeah. And they don't know if there's any foul play, if he pulled the ball. And, now there's a miss because there's no story. There's no cameras. There's no, this was 80.
These days, nothing.
3, I think it happened. So yeah, man. Then Marianne comes home because she heard, hey, come to the house. No one said anything over the phone.
Is Marianne the girlfriend?
The girlfriend. I
Okay.
shouldn't say her name, but she's passed away since
Oh,
then.
sorry.
I
You want us to mark it?
No, it's all good, man. She's passed. And I'll say the good news of this story. She was excited because she had found out that day. She thought she was coming. Mickey was there. She found out she was pregnant that day.
No.
So now she shows up. I'm going to tell my guy we're going to have a kid. She's told the father of your kid has passed away. So yeah, man.
So wait, you have a half brother?
I got a half brother who I've never met.
Never.
Yeah.
Do you want to?
I want to more for, I have such limited memories of my father. You know what I mean? I was very young. Dude, the house that we grew up in.
He's got none.
He has 0. So I would want to offer that for him, but without slandering his name, when I finally think I found out who he was, the first thing that came up was mugshots.com.
Was it? Yeah.
Sometimes shit happens.
Yeah.
But his mother eventually moved down to Florida and got clean. And so she wound up leading a very beautiful, peaceful life. She turned it all around. But like, dude, we would be at the house. Like for my dad was throwing a party one time. I think I was 5 or 6. And I just had the rambunctious going. You know what I mean? And he's like, you gotta calm down, man. I got people over here acting like a lunatic. So I was like, all right. So he gives me a Harley Davidson belt buckle. So I strap that bad boy on. Gives me a Michelob and then a Playboy.
How old?
5.
God, Jesus Christ.
So now
What
I'm
a
over.
starter kit.
Now I'm over in the corner, like, flipping the pages. It was just crazy.
Jesus. So your dad goes. Where do you go now?
So here's what happens, man. My dad dies. I don't really understand what that is, right? The word death. That German Shepherd that the 16-year-old kid upstairs had got killed. And his little brother, whose name was Dude.
Really?
Yeah. Dude goes, hey, you want to see a dead dog? This was like a week before my dad passed. I go, yeah. So we go in the alley and there was the German Shepherd, but he lifted the side and it was filled with maggots, which I had never seen before. It was just this white undulating mass. And then you looked closer, you could just see him little, right? So I was like, oh my God, what is that? He goes, that's dead. That's a dead dog. That's dead. And I was like, oh, then a garbage truck came down the alley and 2 dudes hopped off, hit the dog with a shovel, threw it in the back. Then a week later-ish, Big Mickey's dead. I was like, oh shit, he's cut up. He's got maggots all. I don't know what's happening, man. The black family upstairs is wailing. They mourned in a way.
That's nice. They liked your dad.
They loved him, man.
Oh, that's nice.
And the mom up there was like so sad. And then Bebe, the daughter, was like,
her name was Bebe.
It was Bebe. It was Bebe, Dude, and Tyrone.
That's Robin Harris, bro. Bebe's
yeah, it was
kids.
Bebe.
I love it.
And I was embarrassed because I was like, why can't I feel that? Like, it's my dad. Why don't I? They're so like, where is that thing in me, And so we go to it was a welfare storefront funeral, like folding chairs, little casket reeked of formaldehyde or whatever chemicals they use. So I go up there and I see my dad, and then a little kid, everyone there starts fucking breaking up. They're sobbing. And I'm like, what is that? He's right there. Why is everyone so sad? So I go up and I could see the veins in his face and I move his eye. I'm like, Dad. And I just hear like, because I pulled the stitches or the glue, whatever it is, off his eye. And then my uncle comes, my mom's brother, and just grabs me and takes me outside. And he's like, look, your dad is dead. And I'm like, I know. He's like, I don't think you know. Like, he's not coming back. He's up in heaven. And he goes, you're not going to bed tonight. And I'm like, what am I going to do? He goes, you're going to stay up in the living room. You are not going to go to sleep. You hear me? And when you hear me knock on the door, you come to the door. I'm like, fine. So he's like, don't tell anybody. So I'm like, all right. The whole night up, stay up, whatever. I hear on the screen door, those steel screen doors, like Baltimore. To open the door, he goes, come on, we're going. I go, where are we going? He goes, come with me right now. I'm like, all right. It's like 6 a.m. The sun's just coming up. He had a brown Scirocco, Volkswagen Scirocco.
I remember the Volkswagen Scirocco.
So a little Scirocco, right? So I'm walking towards the car, and then my dad's other sister, who was like the good kid trying to go to school and shit, she goes, what are you doing? And he goes, you don't got to worry about what I'm doing. She's like, you taking him? And he goes, yeah. She goes, are we ever going to see him again? And he goes, no. And I go, what? I go, where are we going? He goes, get in the car. So I was like, what? He goes, get in the car. So I get in the car. We take off. I'm like, crying. I'm like, where are we going? I go, baby, I'm not going to hang with Dude. Like, he's like, you would be dead in 2 weeks if you stayed there. It's all junkies and drunks. There's no food in the fridge, nothing. You know what I mean? Like, you can't, your dad is the only person that gave a shit about you at that house. Like my other aunt was just trying to get the fuck out of there. You know what I mean? Like, she was just staying there, tolerating it until she could leave. So he's like, we're going to your mother. And I'm like, who's my mom? I'm like, who's my mama? Like, I'm talking like, dude. And he's like, she's great. We're going to a little place called Berwyn. It's a neighborhood. There's a Tasty Freeze a block down from where you're going to live. There's a park 3 blocks away. You're going to go to a school. Those are nice kids. Don't worry about it. This is the Irish side. It's very nice and very calm. You ever been around Irish people, Ryan?
Enough of them.
Dude, that would be the last way that I would describe.
Calm is not an adjective I would use for that.
Calm is not the fucking descriptor, bro.
Yeah.
So we pull up to a 2-story apartment building in this neighborhood called Berwyn. And he's like, your mother's in there. We're going to walk in. Your whole life's going to change right now. Everything's going to be fine. All right. So I'm nervous. I have no memories of my mother. So we walk in. Staircase going up to the right to the second floor part. Little door opens. This like 4'9", red-haired, pale, freckled woman is standing. And she's like, hey. And I'm like, hey, Mom.
That's your mom?
That's my mom, right? So she opens the door, no hug, walks to the other side. Like
no hug?
No hug. So when you walked into a kitchen. There's like a little sunroom here, which is where her bedroom was, and then a living room, right? And there was like a dining room table in the kitchen. Her other room had been walled off for like a 2-chair Polish beauty salon. So it just smelled like perm fluid when I walked in.
Oh.
So she's standing on the other side. She's kind of looking at me like, what's my life now? Because she didn't plan on having me there. You know what I mean? So I walk in, I'm looking at her like, what is this? I'm hungry. I just basically got kidnapped. I haven't had breakfast. I open her fridge. It's empty. Like you knew a kid was coming. Like I think about this now, right? There's a quart of milk. That's it. That's all that's in the whole fridge. I pop that open. I start guzzling it. It's sour.
Ugh.
So I just instinctively just go.
Ugh.
She closes the distance like Hagler Hearns 1. Bro, cross the ring, straight right, bang, drops me and goes, get a towel and fucking pick it up. And I look up at my uncle who just gave me the pep talk and he's like, good luck.
Yeah, good
and
luck,
dude, he just
bro.
leaves. And I was
Mom.
like, this is chill. You know what I mean? Like this is, and dude, that was my mom, man. Like, no.
And how long are you with her?
So I live with her. I lived on the sofa for a little bit and the floor. And then sometimes she would sleep on the sofa because one time I'm like, so they send me to the Catholic school 3 blocks away called St. Odillo's, which is the patron saint of purgatory.
Nuh-uh. I didn't even know there was one, dude. There's a saint of
purgatory.
of stuck between heaven and hell.
You're not good and you're not
Yeah.
meh. You're just like meh.
Also, what's it say about the saint that gets that gig? You know what I mean? You're also just a mass saint, you know?
Hey, Frank, has anybody ever told you you're average?
Yeah, we got a whole saint for that. That's the name of the school?
That was the name of the school. So I
For
get
all
my,
the average kids?
Yeah, man. So I'm there and my mom let me sleep in the bed one night. I'm like 9. I'm in first grade. So what is that? 7, 8?
No, you're 5 and 6 in first grade, 7 second grade, 8 third grade, 9
Okay,
fourth
so
grade.
I might have been a year later. So let's say
Fifth
let's say I'm first or I was just at the school because this is why. She wakes me up at midnight and goes, we're going out. And I'm like, where are we going? She
You got
goes,
a lot of these late night runs with relatives,
dude,
man.
she goes, we're going out. I go, where are we going? She goes, we're going dancing. Wear something sexy. And I'm like,
sexy girl.
it was sexy. So I look at and she was in a hurry, man. She was like, if you want to go, there was some urgency to the request. So she was drunk, full on alcoholic. So I'm like, all right, I get my corduroy pants from the Sears Husky section, throw those on, mustard yellow shirt from, my uniform from school. I'm like, come on. And we go to a place called Tootie Toots. Tootie Toots, yeah. I think it was on North Avenue or Grand Avenue. We walk in. My mom comes in. She's dancing. The music's going. There's a wall of mirrors, smoke machines going. She gives me a 20. She goes, go get 2 Manhattans. I don't know. You know what I mean? So I had Michelob, but I never had Manhattan. So I go to the bar and I go, 2 Manhattans. I'm in my Saint Purgatory school
It probably
uniform.
says it on it. Yeah.
It's probably 12:40 a.m. I'm like come up to here on the bar. I'm standing on the little rail under it. The guy sets 2 drinks down and goes, keep your mother in line tonight.
telling the kid to do it.
So I take the drinks. I give her one. She's got her purse down, dancing with herself in the mirror. It was
she didn't want both of them?
It was Debbie. No, one was for me. She gave me one. I drank it. Tasted like gasoline. So now I'm kind of dancing. The women there thought it was the shit that this little kid was out there dancing. My mom's dancing. About 2 hours later, last call comes. I'm shithoused. And I'm dancing with this girl. And she goes, "You're so cute when you get older." And what did she say? She flashes me. And she goes, "Oh my God, if you were older, we would totally be going home together now. But I can't get in trouble."
She showed you her tits.
Yeah.
You're a kid.
On the dance floor. And then the next day, again, I'm going to school. And they're like, "He has a problem sitting still."
He's hungover. For God's sake.
Yeah. Like I go in and people like, and then plus at the same time,
He's
like I'd be sitting there.
He can't stay awake during story time for shit.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah.
Dude,
so now what happens to mom?
So
is she an addict still?
Well,
at that time?
It was mostly alcohol.
Okay.
And abusive men. Dudes would just, dude, it was not good. And then she would forget to buy this shit called groceries.
Yeah.
So I'm not eating. I would eat at the purgatory school. And then finally I'm like, she had passed out. I'd only been eating lunch at school and I knew that there was a guy living upstairs. So I go up the stairs at night. It's maybe about 8 at night. My mom's already passed out. Remember the generic sodas that would say like red, orange? Yeah. So there's generic pop and chips that just say chips on them. On the little ledge, like you open the door, there was the ledge, and then you go down the stairs. So I just take the top. I'm like,
dude,
just like clowns.
Those fucking 3 liters back in the day too, where you had to let it, and it would take like 5 minutes to make.
Yeah.
You're like, oh man, shit. Trying to go a little bit.
Yeah. Then you grab in the corner of the chip thing. So
the soda's just lying, dude.
Yeah.
And you can't do it in the fridge either because the light's on the whole time. You're like, oh,
yeah.
No.
So I'm guzzling as much as I can, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm just trying to open these chips, man. And
some of the loudest things to try to eat.
And I'm just shoveling these chips in my mouth. And then the door swings open and now it's just light on me. Because there was no light on in front of the thing. He's like, "Hey, this guy, hey, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Huh?" He's like, "You eating my food?" And I'm like, "Uh-huh." And he's like, "Look down." And I'm covered in potato chip crumbs. Now, this is my mom's father.
Okay.
Who would become my grandfather. But when I first went there, I'd only seen him once. I figured that he lived up there, but he's like, "How's the kid doing?" But I was standing next to my mom. But because I was Puerto Rican and Irish, was a teen mom, and his son had just gotten murdered. I left that out. But the house that I was moving back to, my mom's brother had just been killed. He was involved in a homicide and had some things go. He got jailed or the Marines, and he went to the Marines. And then when he got out of the Marines,
they got him.
Well, jury's still out on what happened, but it was nefarious. So it was a broken-hearted family. So I was coming from that environment into this environment that had been shattered by the loss of this guy. But my grandfather was old school. He did 7 years of a 15-year sentence for armed robbery. So he was street smart. Then he cleaned his shit up, got a job at Sears Roebuck, got this little 2-flat building, And it's so funny. That building sold in 1990 for $200,000.
Oh.
It just went on market last year for $210,000. That's everything you need to know about that neighborhood, dude.
Nothing.
Nothing, dude. You made a sweet 10 grand profit in 40 years.
And everything. You got about $2,500, man. That's my nest egg, bro. That's my nest egg.
So everyone was upside down, man. So this guy sees me. He's probably 65 at the time. Stocky dude, I kind of look just like him. And he goes, "You eat today?" And I go, "No." And he goes, how's your mother?" And I just was like, I didn't want to say anything, because it's that neighborhood thing. I'm just like, it's easier for me to just say nothing or not.
That's the way I always, how you go? I'm good.
I'm good. I'm fine.
Fine.
So he goes, Mickey Rooney? And I'm like, no. He goes, there's a movie coming on called Black Stallion right now. It's got Mickey Rooney in it. You want to watch it? And I was like, yeah. He goes, I can put some popcorn on the stove. Remember the Jiffy Pop?
Yeah,
Yeah.
bro.
He goes, I'll put some popcorn on the stove. We could watch a movie. Because he knew, right? You look back. He knew who his daughter was. His alcoholism destroyed his family. He saw what was happening. His son, you know what I mean? It was not good. And here was a little kid stealing food to eat. He took me in. He had 2 lazy boys in the kitchen because he had walled off his living room for his son who had disowned him because of his alcoholism to let him live for free after he had gotten MS.
Okay.
So he was a member of Mensa. I don't know if you know that.
I
that
do know it,
genius shit.
yes.
Yeah. So that was that guy. His name was Tommy. He disowned his family, moved to New York, started making some money in his early 20s, got hit with MS, became an alcoholic, came back in, had nowhere to go. And his father said, even though they hated each other, you could live in the living room for free. So that was the guy that lived on the other side of that wall. So his living room was his kitchen. We had 2 lazy boys. And I just sat there and I ate popcorn, man. And I ate. I that was not happening. There wasn't 2 days in a row that I ate.
And isn't it funny too that it's just popcorn, but you're so fucking grateful to have something
Dude.
going in your mouth and stomach.
Yeah, man.
Also, Black Stallion, I'm not going to lie to you. Within the last year, I went on YouTube and I rewatched the scene where he rips that fucking mask off and they're hauling ass. And
Yeah,
I was
man.
like, oh, that's giving me chills now. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember seeing that as a kid and I was like, what a fucking great movie that was.
But
He's playing with them on the beach. And
Oh, yeah. But you know what's crazy?
I'm going to go home and watch it today and get fired up for
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah.
I'm just going to I'm
Dude,
ready to
I
ride
got the
horses
movie poster
tonight.
in my office. My pal Billy gave me the figurine, the horse, the figurine that the kid gets. I watched it again. I mean, dude, I'm crying at the end of the movie. He's crying at the end of the movie. And he looks at me and he goes, stay up here tonight. And I go, well, I got to go downstairs. He goes, no, don't worry about it. And I go, he goes, I'll talk to your mother. And then I moved upstairs with him.
Is that right?
Yeah. My mom just let me go live upstairs. She would come up. Dude, let me talk about Black Stallion for a second. That's about a kid who loses his parents and an old guy who's a little bit lost and they find each other. And that was what happened. You know what I mean? That's just what happened. And he was not the perfect guy, but he was the fucking perfect guy for me. He would give me oatmeal in the morning and he was doing the best he could as a guy who had fucked his family up through his drinking, had tried to get sober. I saw him relapse twice. A tough motherfucker. Dude, this guy carried a hatchet under the front seat of his car.
A hatchet.
A hatchet.
Yeah, that's
like a
good.
little handle, fucking hatchet. Some guy pulls up to us. We're going to Toys R Us. A guy pulls up, some bikers in a car, right? A guy in his car. He goes, hey, old man, you fuck your old lady as slow as you drive? My grandfather goes, dude, when I say Irish temper, like stereotypical shit, I mean, there's no space between what that dude said and my grandfather going to murder him.
Yeah.
No, for real, murder him. He goes, motherfucker, like the clenched teeth, grabs the hatchet, gets out. The guy's like, what's this guy going to do? Walks around, goes to kill him with the hatchet.
Kill him.
And the guy just happens to gun it and veer away before the hatchet goes into his head. Instead, it goes into the side of the car so that when he cuts over, I see the hatchet sticking off the side of
it's
it's
stayed in.
wedged in the car because the guy happened to move it before he got murdered. Hardcore dudes, man. And this guy just loved me. He drove me to school. My mom would come flying in drunk, kick in my door, beat the shit out of me and leave. And he didn't stop her. Because it was a weird thing. I'm her kid. He's the grandfather. But ultra violence, dude. I had cigarettes put out. I mean, crazy shit. You know what I mean? But he was always the safe harbor. Then one day, it's June. It's hot. I'm 13 at this point. I'm a teenager, not super rebellious. I say that I got pinched a couple times for stealing. But my neighborhood was that was kind of the vibe. A guy got arrested one time for stealing baseball cards, a whole box of them, right? But I was with a guy. There was a kid with me. So I get arrested. The kid makes it away, my partner. And I'm there. I'm scared. He's like, who were you with? I'm like, I wasn't with anybody. And he goes, we know you were. We saw the other kid go away. I goes, I wasn't with anybody. So he slaps me. The cop does. He goes, who are you with? I go, I wasn't with anybody. He goes, well, now we're going to call your house. So it's fine. I call my grandfather. They call him. He comes in. But the door's open now. They got me cuffed to a table and everything. But the door's open so I can hear my grandfather come in. Oh, he stole baseball cards. I hit him. And my grandfather's like, that's all right. You know, this is the old school shit. So I can't see him, but I can hear him. They're right outside the door. And the guy goes, he had a partner and he didn't give him up. My grandfather goes, oh no, he's a good kid.
Yeah, dude. Oh, he's the best. Yeah, we're raising him right. Yeah.
For real. He didn't give him up. No, he's a good kid. It was so primo. And so I start wrestling, you know. I found this beautiful fucking sport, man, where I had all this energy my whole life from the trauma or whatever the fuck you want to call it, right? And I remember the first practice, and it was a club, so it wasn't a sport at the school, but we had kind of heard that there was something like that. And so me and another kid who I love, one of my best friends, we just tried it, dude. We went to this strange sport, strange place, strange smelling room. We knew nothing about it, right? So we're in there and we're experiencing what every wrestler experiences, which is abject terror of physical violence, but your body exerting at a level you didn't know was possible. So I just stopped, man. I just stopped. And Coach Jerry Ruffino comes up to me and he goes, we don't do that here. And I go, what? And he goes, quit. Bro, it was like hitting. I was like, what are you talking about? Like in my head, I was like, what? He's like, we don't do that here. He wasn't a dick about it. He was a fireman that came from the firehouse to the wrestling room. He's like, we just don't do that here, man. And it was all a bunch of knucklehead neighborhood kids. We didn't have wrestling shoes. We wrestled in street shoes. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And he was just like, you just can't do that. And it just never occurred. It was always like, I'll quit when shit gets hard. I got to cut corners, man. I got to be slick. It never occurred to me. You fucking take it all and you keep going.
I have to say wrestling saved me quite a bit, man. Too. In high school, my dad's just dies and we're in the middle of a wrestling season and my mother's gone. And I'm just like, man, you talk about also in hindsight being very grateful to have an outlet to take some fucking aggression out on somebody.
Yeah.
You know, sorry about that illegal lateral drop right there. You know what I mean? Like, my bad. I'm going through some shit right now. My friends do. You don't want to wrestle his ass right now. I'm like, I might DDT you. You know what I mean? I might put some WWF on this shit. But, yeah, man, I remember it was no quit and just the mantras. It was respect. It was respect everyone, fear no one.
Yeah.
We were never allowed to lay on our back. If you were on the mat on your back and the coach caught you, it was like fucking 100 push-ups and shit like that. Yeah. It was discipline.
A horrific amount of physical exercise that you didn't even think was an option.
You would hear in sports. I played team sports as well, but you know, you hear, oh, you're cheating yourself. And the truth is, in a team sport, there is someone that can back you up. Somebody can bail you out or whatever. Not in that sport.
No.
It's you and all your fears, your emotions, your angers, everything trying to also skillfully dismantle this motherfucker within the rules.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, on its surface, you have to put somebody against their will, have both their shoulder blades touch the mat. You know, like Jay Moore said, you know the same moves, you train the same. What were you doing when nobody was looking?
Mm-hmm.
And it was, man, it just, that and skateboarding changed my life forever. Also individual, but part of kind of a team or a group where like you just fell, man. You had to fall. You had to fuck yourself up.
Seinfeld has said some great things about it. I say it a lot. Like he said, you would think maybe an older dude like that, be like, whatever. But he said, no, those kids are going to be just fine. They're out there doing that same trick again and again and again until they perfect it. He's like, it's a lot like comedy. It's a lot like life.
Yeah.
Just keep repeating it until you get it. And then it's not good enough just to barely get it. Now let's do it well.
Yep.
You know, and then it's now the next trick. Let's get it, do it well, you know? So it is all, you know, the other thing too that I've learned in life too is that just And a lot of people ask about this shit, but honest to God, the majority of it is just fucking hanging in there.
Yeah.
Don't quit. Show up. Hard work, fucking. It's hustle. It is. There's no shortcuts. I tell my daughter that all the time. I go, you don't ever want to go like this. You go like this, you're coming down like this. You want to go like this.
Yeah.
You're going to have your
Yes.
peaks and your valleys, but you want a steady rise. You know, it's okay to drop here, but we're going to go up here. We're going to take one back, two forward. It's fine. You don't want to skyrocket up because then you skyrocket down.
Yeah.
There's no, where are you going from there? This is a steady fucking climb. Google Coca-Cola. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just steady on.
Not only that, failure's part of the fucking cover charge, man. Like, embrace that shit.
Yeah, I mean, that's all comedy is. People are like, how'd you get good at stand-up? Because 90% of what I did sucked.
Yeah.
And 10% is all right. That's how.
Yeah. I mean, failures.
Wrestling really showed me everything.
Oh, yeah.
Also, just getting beat, getting humble. That's another thing, too, because you're angry and you got a lot of ego and you're fucking just full of testosterone. Nobody I don't have any parents right now. You can't tell me shit.
Yeah.
But this motherfucker from North Carroll that can ride legs is twisted up like a pretzel.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me.
How about this, though? When you are in a funk and you get stuck and you get pinned, I'm not kidding you, only till about maybe 5 or 8 years ago did I stop daily replaying grade school pins.
Is that right? You would think about that pin?
Oh, dude. All the failures in my life haunt me daily. They just come on me. Less of like that I'm afraid of it, but just that it happened and it really bothers me. It really bothers me. And the fact that I couldn't win and beat them and couldn't figure it out, or worse, the time where I did give up and I knew it, like I could have bridged for a little longer or I could have fought for a little harder and the gas tank went, but I made a decision to quit, was so shameful. I took it so personally that like just recently I'm free of that shit.
That's interesting. I had this one is a moment that really stuck out for me too. Wrestling again changed my life a little bit. So my dad dies in November. We've got the holiday tournaments in December. It's just weeks after my dad's dead. And they're like, you should probably I was like, nope, I need this.
Yeah.
I can't sit home. I got to get my mind off of everything that's going on. This is literally, he's fresh in the ground. This is fresh on my mind. He was always at these events. Now he's not here. So I'm going to my first Christmas tournament. And wrestling tournaments, Christmas one with like 8-10 schools. And you're wrestling all motherfucking day.
Yeah.
And I get to the end. And my coach is like, we're going to need you to wrestle at 175. And I was like, dude, that's like 10 pounds over. He's like, you just got to step up and do it. Because, you get your individual accolades, but team sport. And I was like, okay. And I said, but I'm weighing in my singlet and I'm eating a fucking cup of pudding. And he goes, go ahead. I stood on that thing in my clothes, my headgear hanging off. I'm eating a cup of pudding. Big Betancourt, that motherfucker didn't move. And they were like, all right. And I was like, oh, Christ. And I'm wrestling this yoked motherfucker from Gilman. He's a big 6+ motherfucker. And look, the thing was, just do your best not to get pinned. You know what I mean? That's what he's telling me. Don't get the 6. Just do what you can.
Yeah.
Try not to let him pin you. And I'm like, all right. And I'm also like, I'm thinking about my dad. Like my dad's not here right now. I'm locking up with this dude. My dad's not here. I got so much emotion going on. I tell Stella about this all the time. And I grab this guy by the back of the neck and I just give him a chuck just to see.
Yeah.
And that fucking neck went by me and I saw it and I said, headlock this motherfucker. Now it might be your only chance. And I fucking, and I hip toss him, boom, drop on him. I put my arm over his fucking throat, which you're not supposed to, you know what I mean? But I don't want him to say, I know that if he gets up,
you're done.
He'll toy with me. He'll fucking hurt me, not just pin me. He's going to bat me around. It just started. And I get up on my fucking, like they teach you on your heels, and I'm rocking in his chest, and I'm bending his fucking neck up, and he's screaming, and I hear, boom, and I'm like, oh my God. And I get up. This dude's, he won't shake my hand, so he gets another team deduction for unsportsmanlike conduct. And I win, and I can't believe it. And I go down in the locker room, and I just fucking break down.
Yeah.
I just ball and ball and ball. I can't believe, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm not supposed to win that. What the fuck and not only was I not supposed to, if there's one I wish my dad could have seen, that would have been it. He would have been like, you took that big motherfucker down. Because he had no problem busting your balls like that little wiry motherfucker gave you a lesson. You know what I mean? He'd tell you that. I'm like, he did that. He did. He's like, he rode all down your ass, man. Fucking had you twisted all up. I'm like, I know, Dad. My brother got pinned one time in 6 seconds and he came off and my dad goes, Derek, I say this all the time. He goes, people ride bulls longer than that, dude. So I know that he would have been like, I want to fuck with you, but man, you handled your fucking business out there. That dude was a Goliath. He really was. But I get it, man. That sport really, it saved me at that moment. I needed it right then too. I needed it right then. I needed to get all that anger out, all that aggression and all that. And I didn't need it in a team sport like football, just banging a guy in front of me. I wanted to fuck this guy up, or I wanted him to fucking go ahead, give it to me. I need it too, you know?
Well, what was interesting was I liked the combat of it, but to me, the mental side of the training, I was fascinated with because I was like,
weight,
this is
discipline,
unreal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like learning that stuff was awesome, but seeing what you're made of. So I was telling you, like, it was like June. It was hot. We couldn't run the air conditioners at the same time. So my grandfather had his on. Blew the fuse.
Yeah.
So my Maz would be running, and I went into my grandfather's room, and he was just a stock. Dude, my grandfather had a foot race. I was the fastest kid, one of the fastest kids in grade school. And he goes, don't ever be cocky. He goes, I'll beat you in a foot race right now. I'm like, you're 70 years old. He goes, you say ready, set, go. We'll sprint to that car. Beat me.
Did he?
He's like, don't get cocky. Don't be a cocky guy. So I would like grab his wrist and he'd try to swat me away all the time, you know, trying to show him my wrestling moves and stuff. So I go into his room. He's sleeping. I grab his wrist to lock him up. He comes up. He kind of smiles at me. He turns purple, heart attack, and dies.
Nah, dude. Is that a true story, Mick Betancourt? No, I don't mean I'm laughing. No, please. Is that real?
You heartless motherfucker.
Is that real?
Yeah.
No. No, dude.
Yeah. I grabbed his wrist.
Trying to fucking put him in a half Nelson and shit, this poor bastard.
He's dying.
He smiled?
Yeah. I grabbed his wrist. I pulled him in because he had the acid shit, so he would be propped up on pillows. He was halfway there for the headlock.
Oh, bro, he was.
So I just came out, I grabbed his wrist. He kind of looked at me and it was very similar to what my dad, when he said, I'm sorry, but like he turned purple and he just went, and the life went out of him.
Right in front of you.
Right. Dude, he died in my arms. I was like, Gramp, you know, because after a while you see him turn purple. I'm like, Gramp. And then he just died. So I'm like, dude, I run out. I jump over the balcony, hit the stairs coming down, pound on my mom's door. Gramp's dead. She opens the door. She's naked. There's a naked dude on the table.
Table.
And he's like, and he goes, kicks a half dog of vodka off the table. What? His ball bag's hanging out. She's like, what?
That's the worst death ever.
I'm like, Gramps dead. She's like, oh, she's calling 411. I just look at her
411.
information.
Hey, listen, as fucked up as she was, she might have been. She might have been calling information for who to call. 411. What's the number I call in an emergency? That's 911. Okay.
How do I live life?
Thank you.
She called information.
God.
She called information. Oh my God. What time's Toys R Us open till?
So what happens?
So this dude just like you just see him grab his shit, like start to get ready to get somewhere in the world. That guy is at a bar and someone's saying, remember the time you hooked up with that chick and her
like,
dad
I was
died?
naked on the table. Little boy come down banging on the door about his papaw's dead. My nuts are swinging.
Did I get sober then? No.
No, babe, I got worse. I started doubling down.
That's when the nightmares started.
What a fucking terrible story. I'm so sorry.
So then we go to the ambulance comes. They grab him. He's a big dude. They're struggling to take him down the thing. We go to the hospital. They're like, we can revive him, but he won't be the same. Like, whole thing, right? Fuck, we get home, man. I'm so sad, but it's all fucked up. My ma gets to her door. She's like, all right. I'm like, yeah, all right. We're getting ready to fall. She's like, where are you going? I'm like, I'm going in there with you. She's like, you got upstairs. I go, Gramp died upstairs. I don't want to go up there. She's like, tough shit. And went inside, just slammed the door. So I'm like, oh, fuck.
You got to go sleep in the
death house.
The death
man.
house,
I go up there. I thought I saw a ghost. Tommy, who lived in the next room, in the living room, while we were at the hospital, he walked with a cane. He had MS.
MS, yeah.
Came out, climbed up the bookshelves, got the key. My grandpa had a little safe, took the cash that he had, robbed his dad's safe while his body wasn't even cold yet. Steals his money.
It's got to be a lot for this guy to do all that with MS, too, to get a key. And
listen
everything.
to this.
It probably took him like an hour to fucking.
So
he couldn't do it while he was home. He's like, one day somebody's gonna die, and I'm gonna get that motherfucking safe.
He has practice bookshelves in his apartment.
He's been ready. He's ready. He's like, I know exactly how I'm gonna do it.
Dude,
I got 20 minutes. I'm in and out.
Years later, after the building got sold, Tommy dies. His brother, my uncle, the one who came and got me out of Humboldt Park. Tommy would only come out at night because he was so embarrassed. So he'd walk to the corner store and drink with Bernie, the gay woman who ran the overnight, counter lady, the overnight stuff. So Bernie calls my uncle, says, hey, will you help me clean out Tommy's apartment? So they go over there. This is maybe 10 years ago, last maybe. He gets over there, paddles, whips.
Oh,
my uncle's like, what the fuck is this? She goes, don't you judge him. He's dead. He goes, what is this? And she goes, well, he was an S&M dom guy for all of the wealthy senior citizen women in River Forest. They'd let him tie them up and spank them because they knew if he crossed the line, they could just nudge him and he'd fall over.
Dude, you got me thinking of a retirement plan right now. I didn't know they'd still be into it.
So
he's an S&M dominatrix.
But my uncle's telling me the story. He goes, so Tommy's a spanker. I was like, what are you talking about?
He's getting paid to spank senior citizens.
Old ladies, man.
That's
That still
racket.
they still
Rich
wanted
old
to get their
ladies.
freak on, but they they're rich, so they're around. How do I trust a guy?
Who knew that was a revenue
So he's like, how does the
stream?
car get there? It screeches up on the lawn.
He's got MS. He's coming.
Dude. So I go upstairs. Now I'm living in my grandfather's apartment. They try to put the building for sale to chop it up amongst Tommy, my uncle, and my mom. It's infested with mice. It's awful. So I go through the food that he has. I'm asking my mom, you got any food? She's like, what is fucking Taj Mahal? Who's got food?
What, like a parent?
The Social Security check. Yeah, parent.
Yeah.
So I run out of food, man. And so I start panhandling. So I'm out on the street like, hey, like how you think it happens. Like, you have extra money? And dude, the way that people looked at me, I will never forget. I've had cigarettes put out of me. I've been beaten. The poverty is the single worst thing that's ever happened. And I don't mean like, I want to be a painter but if you can go home, you haven't experienced real abject poverty when there's nothing there's no food. And then the store closes and then there's no food. And then, so I was like, fuck this. I'm going to start stealing shit, man. Like I just can't live like this. And then I started stealing some shit and I didn't like how that made me feel. And then I didn't eat for like 3 days and I started hallucinating and my stomach started hurting and I was in my grandfather's apartment. And I went and I told my uncle, I said, can you take me? I go, I haven't eaten. I need to eat. And he took me to get a turkey sandwich at a place called the Majorette. And I was shaking, it looked like I was having a seizure and I'm trying to eat the stuff. And he goes, stop with the act. I was like, are you all right? I'm trying to eat. And I'm like, this is really fucked up. Because I knew if I said anything, I'd become a ward of the state or I'd go to an orphanage. You know what I mean? Like I had to keep it a secret. So I went through my 7th grade summer, 8th grade, almost got expelled. The summer after 8th grade, enrolled myself in high school, and then was in the middle of high school. Like it was around November. I'm trying to wrestle. I'm working at my solution was get a job at a fucking restaurant. So I was a busboy and I could eat. I'd bring food home, but I was also
the same shit.
Yeah. So I was also wrestling. So I had to cut weight. It was just too much, man. I started to smell. I didn't have money for laundry. I'm walking around the school. It's like rich kids and stuff. And dude, I was like, I cannot do this anymore. And so I said, I got to talk to a counselor. And so it was this guy named Brother John, who's a Franciscan brother. So he had that kind of like brown potato sack robe on, with the rope belt. And I go, listen, man, can I move into the old rectory? Then I can come from my job at the restaurant to here so I can hit wrestling practice at like 6 a.m. And he's like, well, what are you talking about? Like, you can't live here. Where are your parents? I go, I don't have any. So he's like, if you're lying, we're going to kick you out of the school. If you've just decided to come in here and make this shit up. So I'm like, I'm not. So he's like, all right, we're going to go right now. This is the middle of the day. We're going to go to your place right now. So we drive to my apartment. Dude, you could see there was a bare mattress with the outline of my body on it, like a fucking crime scene, mice everywhere, dirty clothes. It smelled. He goes, this is the worst case of child abuse I've ever seen. Where's your mother? I go, here's the deal, man. I'm not saying shit. I don't know shit. My mom's business is her business. I need to eat and I need clean clothes, man. Like, that's what I need. And he goes, is there anywhere that you can go? Like, cause you can't stay here. I go, if you bring me to a foster home or you try, if I see you pull up to a fucking state home, I'm out. You're never going to see me again. I'm running from the car. I'm just telling you that right now. So he called my uncle, who was newly married and had one baby with one baby on the way. And I go, he's like, you can stay on my sofa. So I packed some stuff in I think I had a pillowcase with some clothes in it. And then he called my mom and he's like, Mickey's living with us. And she's like, all right. And I moved in with my uncle. Then we got evicted from that place and moved back into my apartment.
Nuh-uh. Your grandfather's old place? Nuh-uh.
Yeah, dude. And then later, my mom caught a felony conviction for bank robbery.
She robbed the bank?
She robbed a bank.
How'd she do it?
Yeah, she used a note saying that I was being held hostage.
Her child
Me,
was?
yes.
Oh, so she went in.
She went in with a note.
I see. She wasn't she's acting like the good person. Like, I'm the victim here. My son's being held hostage.
If you don't give me all the money, they're going to kill him. Now,
your mom did that?
Yeah. So let me tell you this. Now, this is 2001, right? So I'm jumping around a little. So my pal Dave, rest in peace, I was living in a subterranean apartment, like a garden apartment, So there was one door that went out to the front street and then one door that went to the alley. But, you could see people's feet walking by, right? Mm-hmm. So the back door knocks. I open, it's Dave, who looked like Fenster from Usual Suspects. He's got 5 DVD players stolen. He's like, homeboy, I'm a little hot right now. Can I lay these off here? I want 100 for each. Take whatever you want off the top. I'm like, put them in a corner. I got you. He sets them down. He's like, I love you. I'm like, I love you too. He goes out the back door. Ryan, a second later, knock on the front door. I'm like, this motherfucker set me up. You know what I mean? I was like, I never had him on that. Like, he was a stand-up guy. Because there's no organization on earth that knocked on my door like the fucking knock. Like, you knew. And then it was like, FBI, open the door. And I was like, motherfucker. So I put my foot on the door to just open it a little bit, And they're like, FBI, where were you this morning? And I go, I was at work, swiped in and out. Now my brain's going, something's up, because they would have, this morning, Dave just left. Like, I'm with the city. I'm swiped in, I'm swiped out. I'm on camera all day. Why? They go, well, your mother robbed Forest Park Federal Bank this morning. And I go, oh, fuck, thank God.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
So this is your first time on the show here. I am the first time anyone comes on with advice they would give to their 16-year-old self. So I'm curious because it's a wild time for you. What advice are you giving to 16-year-old Mick Betancourt?
Buckle up, motherfucker.
Right. Sit there. You have a wild life, Mick Betancourt.
Yeah, man. So good to see you.
You as well, and thank you for doing this. And I know you have a million stories. Can you hear more of this on your Substack?
Yeah, so if you like these stories,
that
that actual whole story, which is just a part of which I just told you is on there. So right now, if you go there free for 7 days, just sign in. It's a subscription thing. You'll get new stories every Sunday emailed to you. And old episodes of the podcast are on there.
Mm-hmm.
Check Reacher out. And then March 14th, if you're around. So it's pinned to my Instagram. So you can go there now, watch it. I'll keep it pinned. Is that fundraiser for St. Baldrick's to fight pediatric cancer. So check that out as well.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you for coming on,
thanks for having me, man.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course, dude. As always, Ryan Sickler on all your social media, ryansickler.com. We'll talk to you all next week.